Tim, Chris of Underoath, thank you for being here, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you for being here. I'm glad that you are here as well.
I'm very happy that I'm alive and here.
Yeah, you made it.
Usually,
and we made it.
This is my first time being last.
Oh, it's all good.
I'm always here in the morning, just relaxing, waiting. Oh, band's late again. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were actually here kind of early because we didn't want to be late, and we were out late last night for our record release party at the Burgundy Room. So we used the extra time to caffeinate and get our gears turning.
Well, you guys have had a journey of a career, man. I've kind of been following it from afar without even knowing. You know, I've been listening to Underoath since year 2000.
Oh, dang.
That's
okay.
wild.
Probably. You joined in 2000, correct?
I joined in, I think it was 99, the end of 99.
You hit the 90s.
Yeah. I just eked it out. Yeah, just eked it out. I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, you were a sophomore jamming with your buddies.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. At the time, I was just a barely passable guitar player. But they needed a keyboard player, and I just kind of happened to always be around. I was just the guy that would just not stop hanging out, and they were like, well, Chris is kind of always around, so what if he played?
Yeah.
And that was it.
So you got into keyboards by accident?
Absolutely, yes.
That was one of my questions. Like, how do you even get into it?
Yeah, well, I mean,
how do you get into keyboards?
When I grow up, I want to be a keyist.
That's hot, dude. That's hot.
You know, at the time, I was listening to a lot of, like a lot of Fear Factory, a lot of like European, like, Nightwish, Crimson Moonlight, stuff like that, like very like symphonic stuff. And that's the type of stuff that we were doing at the time. So that really appealed to me. Not so much the Fear Factory stuff, but we were wanting to be like a European death metal band. And so I got to do that, which was cool. I just didn't know I was signing up for any sort of a
career.
Yeah, no, it was just jamming with dudes, and then here I am in my mid-40s, hanging out with my
25 years later.
Yeah, 25 years later, dude.
Not playing European symphonic death metal. So
because you guys had a previous guitar player that it makes sense because you guys are based out of Tampa, Florida. So I just assumed that just the local shows are pretty metal. So that's probably like the vibe.
Yeah. So it's a weird thing because the Tampa scene, particularly in like the 90s, it's kind of famous for having that like that death metal origin thing. But really, when we were growing up going to shows, it wasn't so much that. It was more of like the the hardcore scene back then. Going and seeing like Sleeping by the Riverside and Chalice and Yeti and bands like that. And and those were the bands that we kind of came up with. So we don't we don't
Seven
really
Star. And all the shows back then were not genre specific.
Yeah.
Like you'd have a ska band and the old Amberlin band that was called Saga 24/7 before they changed their name. Like they would play, then a ska band would play, and then Underoath and Sleeping by the Riverside would play. And
Copeland.
it was just, with Copeland in there as well. Like there was everything, pop punk, indie. And so, we didn't have like hardcore shows and then death metal shows. It was just a scene where everyone was friends and everyone just played together, which is cool.
It makes sense. What was the venue? You guys was it State? Was it Crowbar? Was it
It was a lot of churches. It was a lot of like people that just lent rooms, and there was one kind of iconic venue called the Refuge, which was a guy named Bruce. He would run like a homeless shelter during the day, and then built a stage, and it was just a grimy punk venue at night.
Nice.
And State Theater was kind of like for real bands.
Yeah, in Ocala, which was closer to where we were. There was a venue called K&K, which was for our
K&K Warehouse, right?
Yeah. K&K Music Hall.
Yeah.
So like for like the Ocala shows, that was like the place to be.
Okay.
But but again, none of those. There was never more than 50 people at any of these shows, but it was just kind of what we came up with. So
it's cool. We had something similar. Like there is a thing like in the early 2000s is having shows at churches.
Yes.
It was the thing.
Outreach, man. Just gaining the youth.
We had it too.
What can't our God do, Garza? No, for real though. It's really interesting because we would play churches all the time. Like we played a church with Converge, and it's like I met this lady. It was
and Bleeding Through.
Yeah, and it was just she was so sweet. She wasn't trying to like get the lost in and change anybody. She was just like, we have the space.
Interesting.
The youth needs a place that's safe, and we don't care if you cuss, we don't care if you mosh, just play here, we'll pay you, and then we're gone. It was really cool.
That's awesome. Converge will play a church.
Yeah, it was what is it? First Unitarian?
First Unitarian or something like that.
Was it in Boston? I think.
Yeah, it was famous for that. Like it wasn't like we played there on accident. Like it was a venue.
Okay.
But yeah, I just remember talking to the woman from the church, and dude, she was just so sweet. And just didn't care, didn't ask me, like, what are you? What do you believe? Where are you going? Just super kind.
Although we did have those churches from time to time.
Oh, yeah. We played the gamut.
Yeah, where it was awkward. Yeah. You guys played? You ever do anything like that coming up? Was that a thing? Because, I mean,
I
obviously.
went to a lot of church shows.
Yeah, but I guess, like, different coasts. Like, because for us, growing up in Florida, we kind of only knew what was going on around us and, hearing, similar stories from like thousands of miles away when there was, we weren't really connecting via the internet or anything. It was a similar thing.
Yeah. You just played churches, and no one really cared.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's where you're in your own little circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get older, you realize, oh wait, there was something similar, like outside.
Yeah, things were happening on both coasts without any of us knowing, and it was the same thing.
That's fucking gnarly, man. So we kind of found out how Chris started to play keyboards. Oh yeah, Tim, I wanted to ask you what guitar did you rent when you were grounded? Because you started playing when you were 15, right?
Yeah, my 15th birthday. I went to a music store. I told the guy I was left-handed, and he's like, if you haven't played yet, you should try to learn right-handed because it'll just make your life easier. You'll have more options. And I was like, well, I'm just renting it. It was like $50, and it was like, I don't even remember what it was. I got like a 110 solid state practice amp and like the crappiest version of like a Fender something, but it was just like an off-brand something or other. And I just took that home and started learning, just whatever I wanted. At the time, it was like Blink songs and like Jimmy Eat World songs and stuff like that. And then, joined a couple random bands and just wanted to be in that scene.
Yeah.
And then, the band I was playing with at the time, we played a show with Underoath, and I learned a couple of their riffs from one of their records. And they were running late, so we were on and, kick, snare. Then it's like, guitar, just doing line check. And I started playing an Underoath riff, and they happened to walk in right at that time.
And then you tried out two weeks later, and now you're in the band.
Aaron's like, wow. Was that you playing that? I was like, yeah. He's like, you want to try out for our band? I was like, yeah. And then I went a week or two later, and they were like, we have a couple people, but you're the first one. If you just want it, we'll just tell everyone.
You showed up.
Yeah, I'm the one that showed up. That's how you get in this band. You just have to be around.
Dude, just show up.
Yeah.
People don't realize, just freaking show up.
Yeah.
Dude.
So it was cool, though. Yeah. I mean, I went home that whole week and tried to learn stuff, and I thought I was going to be the rhythm guitar player. I'd only been playing guitar for like maybe 2 years.
Did you know at that point that Corey was out of the band, that he was leaving?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you thought Octavio was taking over.
I thought Octavio was leaving and I would be able to play all the easy stuff.
Yeah.
And then they told me, no, like the principal songwriter and lead guitar player is the one that we're looking to replace. And I was like, oh no. So I just went home and faked it till I maked it.
Yeah, because you said you had no experience with writing songs and you just joined and just figure it out, right?
Yeah. The first song I ever wrote is an Underoath song.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Changing of Times was the first time I ever wrote anything.
Wow. That's cool, man.
So, it was cool.
Yeah.
And we just did it. It was just one of those things where if you don't have the skill, for me, if you don't have the skill or you don't have the experience or the time, it's just resilience at that point, And that's my whole life. Like, I'm a smaller guy. Like, if I wanted to play sports, I just had to, like, try harder and work harder than everyone. And it's not that I'm naturally gifted at anything. Sure. It's just as soon as I'm like, I'm going to do that and I'm going to do it really well. It's just mind over circumstances, basically.
Yeah, so you have like extreme focus with something that you want to do.
Yeah. Like, it's probably somewhere linked in like an ADD thing, but it's like, if that's what I want to learn, like I'll stay up just won't sleep. Just go. Whether it be like Resolume or Timecode or Ableton or guitar or anything. It's just like, once my brain's like, we're not doing this, like we're just doing it, then you just go.
You just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that relates a lot to that, just showing up idea as well. Because I feel like there are so many things that, music related and not, that, I think we would probably agree on it, that, you only happen because you decided to go and be present at a thing, or you're just like, okay, I'm going to do this thing and then we'll see what happens, you know? And yeah, that sort of thing is always, looking back on those things is always really cool for me anyway. Just being able to say like, man, like tracing things back to like, oh, all this stuff only just happened because
this little thing,
this little
thing, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for you, Tim, I was just thinking like, you found guitar because you didn't get good grades.
Yeah,
right?
well,
because that's why you got grounded.
If what was it? My parents pulled me out of roller hockey and grounded me for a whole summer.
Out of hockey?
Yeah, I lived in Tennessee, and then we didn't have that much money, so it was big.
Yeah.
That's what hurt me the most. Is like they were so disciplined on parenting that they're like, we just spent $300 on like used stuff for you, and we're just gonna give it back because you're not playing because you didn't get good grades, which is, at the time a big bummer, but very admirable. I think shaped a lot of the way I view the world now. And yeah, so I was just stuck at home, and just like, let's get into this. And I was going to college when I was 17, and then joined Underoath and almost flunked out of that. So again, just driving past college and going straight to the music store. And I was not built for school. But then as soon as my brain unlocked something that I actually loved, it was like go time,
Yeah, you guys kind of found each other. It's crazy.
It's weird.
We talk about that all the time.
Like
if he didn't happen to bump into Dallas at school over a band shirt, or I didn't happen to play that one note from their record, or if I did but they didn't come in at the time, like it's call it God, universe, whatever. There's been way too many.
What is that, right? I think about the same thing. What is that?
Yeah, like
I don't know.
Yeah,
and you also got to give that same space, whatever it is, like credit for the bad too. You guys have been through a lot, obviously, and something is happening somewhere, and we're not in control as much as we think we are, and I think, with our band, we got really lucky a lot of times, like Chris bumping into Underoath, and then me going to their shows and getting grounded, and then learning this one thing, and then this one night, and then the week later, and all of those things, just to even get in a van together. There was like 15 different instances that had to happen the way they happened.
Yeah, something that we talk about fairly often is the fact that I met my wife through him. So like, even if you trace it back, the idea that if he hadn't gotten grounded and got the roller hockey stuff sent back, then I would not have my kids right now. And I would not have my wife, and I would not have my entire life as I know it. Like, and the idea that, his parents grounding him when he was however old, that was a chain event then that affected, our lives greatly. But then you also, if you take that even a step further, like the people who have been affected by our music, like whether it's just listening to it, or people who have worked for us or whatever, like, so many people that we know have met, friends, wives, husbands, they've had kids, like all through.
Crazy.
So it's just like you're grounded, and then just like
you're grounded
25 years later, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like it kind of goes back to like
that is true.
Yeah, even building the band, like we just said yes. Like we got an offer for Dana Point, playing a church actually on the West Coast. This guy emailed us, and at the time I was kind of our interim manager, booking agent. Like everyone helped, but got an email, and he's like, "We want you to play all the way in California." And he's like, we'll pay you $1,500. And for us, that was like hitting the lottery.
Dude, you guys made it.
So
we made it.
I literally hit the dudes. I'm like, I don't even know how. We can't say no.
Yeah.
But how do we go? We just drove
from Florida.
we drove for one show. We're like, even if we break even, like it's a big show and it's like the most we've ever been paid. And you know, we got jumped at that show, which was sick. And
I heard a rumor that you guys got jumped at a show. Was it that one?
Yeah, Dana Point.
Dana Point was kind of known, especially here in Corona. Like they had like some few crews around.
Yeah, it was like one of those crews, and like I guess they didn't like that we were not straight edge, or that we might have been faith based in some way. But yeah, we started playing, and then they were like unplugging the PAs and then swinging on Dallas, our singer.
Are you fucking serious?
No, yeah, it was crazy, and I was just like, "What the hell's going on?"
Did you know any of these people?
No, they were just. We were
wedding crasher vibes. Like, let's go fuck the show up.
Yeah, we were so confused. It was very weird. Yeah.
And then we just drove home with our $1,500.
Oh my! It was so it just had that one show, and that was that your first time in California?
No.
My first tour that I ever did, we came out to California. We played. I know we played Sacramento. We played, I don't know, somewhere Southern California as well. We did a tour. It was us and a band called Few Left Standing, and a band called Tantrum of the Muse, and a band called Narcissus. That was I think that was in 2000 or 2001. But yeah, we came all the way out to California on that. It was
nice.
It was a mess of a tour, but
you gotta do it.
Yeah,
you gotta do it.
it was just an incredible mess, but it was very memorable.
That was the only tour
right there.
I didn't go on. Yeah, 40 Days of Disaster.
Yeah, it was aptly named for sure.
You guys sometimes you name something. Oh, well, you actually named it like what it actually is. Sometimes.
So someone call that manifesting.
Words have meaning.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
One time, I had a previous band that went to a studio called Lo-Fi Studio. So literally, what you get is what that's what the studio says. So it sounds not great. It sounds kind of lo-fi.
Yeah,
but it's in the fucking name. Though.
Were they intending that? Do you think, or are they just not good at what they do?
I think it's not good at what they do. But sometimes it's like it's in the name, and there's there's your manifesting.
It's true.
Man, you guys had the metal logo, dude.
Oh yeah, we were in it back then.
Tim, what riff were you playing?
It's a riff from the song called "The Last."
Is it the riff? Last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Chris. I know you hear it all the time. That's what we were all doing.
I love it.
Because people that can't play like me and Tim, that's the one we were like, oh, I could do pull-off.
Yeah, literally. And then they're like, you could play that. You could probably play all the hard stuff too. I'm like, I cannot. But I was just like, I can. I'll be there. I'll see you next Friday.
I could play that on guitar. That's how that's how not hard it is to play.
Yeah.
See?
But yeah.
Sweetwater. You heard me talk about them before, but I'm reminding you again. They are the #1 online retailer for pro audio and music instruments. When the band needs anything for a tour, or we need something here for the podcast, we always go to Sweetwater. If you're trying to slam and need any music gear, click the link in the description below so they know you came from this podcast. DistroKid. If you're like myself and have no idea how to get your songs on the internet, DistroKid is the easiest way to get your music that you or your band wrote on all streaming platforms. Get your songs onto iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and more. Check it out at distrokid.com/VIP/Garza and get 30% off your membership. That's distrokid.com/VIP/Garza to get 30% off. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed that. Back to our conversation with Underoath. So you joined the band, Tim, and there's obviously you guys. You have a couple really cool quotes. Sometimes know what you're not inspired by.
Yeah.
Because people always ask you, what are you inspired by? What are your influences? And you mentioned, well, I know my negative influences. And knowing what you don't want to be to know what you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I love that, dude.
I think a lot of people need like a North Star, and I think there's just as much, if not more, to learn on the backside of that.
Yeah.
Like, I just know what I don't want to be. Yeah. You know, it's like, how do you be a good dad? Well, tell me the 10 things you don't want your kids to think of you. And if you don't do those, you're way closer to being a good dad. You know, how do you be a good husband? How do you be a good bandmate?
Yeah.
How do you write a good song? And it's like, I don't know where I want this song to go, but I know where it shouldn't go. And therefore, like, you kind of only have a little bit of white space to play in there.
100%, dude.
And I think when you try to go, I'm going to be the superhero dad, and I'm going to be at every game, or I'm going to be the best husband, or we're going to write a song just like 9 Inch Nails, that's when you kind of pigeonhole where you're going to be, and you set yourself up for failure. So for me, it's a lot easier to be like, if there's 100 choices and I know I don't want to do 95 of them, and I'm confident in that, then even if I choose the lowest of the top 5 that are left, it's still going to be a success. And I think if you could just create that space for yourself, that's at least how my brain works. Other people just need a goal. I want a 6-pack by June 10th, and I'm going to do it. And that's great too. For me, it's just like, don't be these 10 things. Therefore, you can only be some of these good things. You know?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what they don't want.
I think that's the number one question people need to ask.
They don't know what they don't want.
Correct.
I always make jokes about like this thing or about suicide. Is I never know what I'm doing, but I know what I want. But more importantly, I always know what I don't want. I always know what I don't want.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And now you kind of have like at least like a little path. You know.
Yeah, and I think that also that alleviates a lot of like the, I guess what they would call like analysis paralysis, where it's like you're like, okay, I could do this or I could do that. Like there's like 900 different things I can do, so I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to sit here until I figure it out. Like my thing is always like, well, if you can't figure out, whether it's, dad stuff, husband stuff, music stuff, career stuff, it's like if you can't figure out the exact direction you want to go, start going in a direction and working in that direction, and then course correct from that point, as opposed to just waiting until you like have the perfect thing and then moving on from there. Yeah, because there's been so many times, like even just music wise, where I'll sit down and I'm like, well, I can't move on from this part until I have this part perfect, because I'm like, oh, it's not exactly the way I want it to sound. The patch isn't exactly what I want it to be. The tone's not exactly what I want it to be. But I find that that's when I just don't get anything done. But if I just say, okay, that's good enough, move on, go to the next thing, by the time you get to the end of the song, it's like, oh, now I know what to do at the beginning. And I feel like that's kind of the way to go in general. If you if you're wanting to start a podcast, it's like, well, you don't have to wait until you have all the right cameras and all the right equipment and the perfect guest. It's like you just start talking into a microphone, and then it'll, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You'll figure it out.
And then 4 years later, you're talking to Underoath.
Yeah, can you believe it? Dude, I can't believe we're here either.
Hey, dude, I always say it's so weird that it's me. I can never imagine it.
It's same.
I can never.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Totally.
So weird.
That's the correct. I think that's the correct mindset as well. That. I think a lot of times, we have this discussion a lot about trying to look at, whatever situation you're in objectively, and, being able to just kind of take a step back and look at everything and just be like, man, like, this is like really good. Even if in the moment there's a lot of bad stuff, even if there's stuff going wrong, taking a step back and being like, yeah, but look at this. Like, this is good.
Yeah.
And, not even so much from our perspective of, like being in the band, but it's like, if you're, working a job and you have a roof over your head and you, you're able to eat and you have friends and you have family, like, if something goes wrong, still taking a step back and be like, yeah, but like, look at all the stuff I have, look at the people, look at the situations. And, or if your car breaks down on the freeway,
and then your mom's car breaks down.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, it's like just the fact that we have money and we can hop in an Uber and still come to work.
Like crazy. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think we get recalibrated quickly to new things, And you see that in psychology, and I'm not the first one to even suggest that idea by any stretch, but it's like you're making 50 grand a year, you make 100 grand a year, and you're like happy for 2 or 3 months, and then all of a sudden your spending habits and your lifestyle just adjust to 100 grand a year, and you're right where you started. And I think it's not easy, but it's important to remember Dana Point and remember playing to 50 people, you know? Or you can go out at the Kia Forum tonight and be like, the room was only half full. Like, you know, it's like we shouldn't be here at all. Yeah. Like the fact that we're allowed to do this and anyone even wants to see us is crazy. Yeah. But you only realize it's crazy if you remember where you came from and not have the humility. Just look back. Like look back at the writings and the things that you built and you're like, how did this even get here? Because it shouldn't have. And there's a lot of bands I think that are like 25 times better than us that will never leave their hometown. And that's when you know like something else is going on. Because it's not about effort, looks, money, who's the best guitar player, because then we're nowhere and other people are where we are, but we're here, you know? And that's not us, you know? I think we've gotten really lucky in a lot of places, and I think we've done a really good job of taking those lucky doors and nailing them wide open, like trying to now work and maximize that. But I think for us to be like, yeah, we just worked our asses off and we're geniuses and we wrote the record of this, like there's a lot of people that actually think that about themselves. I'm like, dude, you just got lucky like us, you know? Yeah. And it's like the gratitude there has to stay or it starts eating away at you and you're never happy.
Yeah, like thinking about the lucky thing, like thinking about like when I believe it was the first time that we played together was on Mayhem.
Yes.
And it was the first Mayhem tour in 2008, and the only reason that we were on that tour was because Seven Dust had to drop off that tour.
Yes, yes.
And we were just, I guess, next in line, and they're like, hey, do you want to go and do this thing with Suicide Silence and Five Finger Death Punch and Machine Head and Slipknot? And we were just like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, let's do it. And
it's luck right there.
Yeah, just, cool.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, the world is weird, you know? And I do think we worked really hard. I think, you know, we say yes and we drive across the country for one show. And then we just said yes all the time. And it wasn't out of like, oh, we're building something. It was just, we were just excited to be around. We were excited that people wanted us to play in California. Yeah. We just wanted to sell out State Theater. That was like at least my goal. Yeah. That was the MSG to me. I'm like, dude.
It's State Theater.
Yeah. If we get to play last and the ticket says our name on it and all 500 people show up and it's sold out, like we won.
You guys played State, right?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Quite a few times.
Hell yeah.
And I think that's it. And if you remember that was your goal, then all of this, including talking to you, is just extra.
Yeah.
It's not my job. I'm not at work.
Yeah.
It's like, this is just it's cheesy, but like literally what a blessing. Like we shouldn't be here. And we're playing the Kia Forum with Rise Against and Papa Roach tonight. That's crazy.
You guys are playing the Forum tonight.
Yeah.
And right now, we're working right now.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
This is like our job.
It's absurd.
Yes.
We're just hanging out talking. This is our job, dude.
And then I have a really tough 30-minute set at the Kia Forum later. I'm exhausted.
You guys have 10 records, right?
Yeah, this is our 10th album technically.
Yeah.
10th record, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Crazy.
You guys. So it just came out.
Yeah. Like hours ago.
12 hours ago.
Yeah.
Boom, dude.
Yeah. Crazy.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Dating the podcast, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's we
cool.
We got to go and do a little party last night, little release party, and we were there when it hit, release minute, and that was cool. Just being surrounded by friends. And
that's cool, man. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. It's wild, man. I mean, you know how that is. Like you work super hard and super long on a thing, and then it's just out there, which is very stoked on it.
Yeah, and you guys have had a fucking crazy career.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. The fact that
what's the record called?
It's called The Place After This One.
Cool,
yeah.
Got to be professional for like a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
No worries.
Sorry, man.
Buy it now. Buy it now.
No, even the career idea is just crazy. It's like, I guess we are professional musicians, but it still feels like we're playing. You know, we're smarter now. We have a team. We have agents and managers like you guys do. And, you know, there's negotiations that we generally are not part of. So we just live in this. If you choose to, you can still live in this like playful world of like music is special and important and spiritual and matters. And it's not just go to this radio station, do this press, get this covered. Now we're going to be bigger. 2 buses, a semi, all that stuff's just so lame to me. I would take it, you know, but I feel like the bigger bands get and the more anyone has in general, it's just more opportunity for you to like lose yourself in that, you know?
A wise philosopher once said, "Mo money, mo problems." Very true. That is true.
But yeah, it's
Problems
like personal assistants and millionaires and multiple houses. Like, it seems cool. I think it's miserable though. You know,
problems never go away.
No,
no matter how much money you have, no matter how much you work, the problems something's going to come up.
Yeah,
that's it
for real. And you know, especially the last 5 years for me, it's like, what's the worst thing that's happened to me in the last 5 years compared to everything? Garza, COVID, people dying, like losing their jobs, their businesses being shut down. I'm like, I've had a rough 5 years, like everyone.
Yeah.
If my world only revolves around me, the last 2 years have sucked. You know, I've just random stuff at home, business, shit closing, people passing away, all that stuff happens. But it's like, if it's all about me, you just live in that miserable state. But if you can zoom out and see what you've had and what you still have looking forward, and that's just a giant pothole, and not just the end of your world, and other people have it way worse. Like, it's perspective is all it is, really.
Yeah.
And I feel like the bigger a band gets, or the bigger a band shift to get bigger gets, if I said that right, probably didn't. Like, once you start pointing your sights there, like, you start losing something. You lose, like, your soul, like yourself, like the whole point of this whole thing.
Been there,
you know,
man.
And you know, it's, you try it, you go dog and pony show to all the radio stations, and that's part of the game. We do it, we get it, but it's not our North Star, you know. And if a song that we write because we like it happens to be a #1 radio single, that's awesome. I would love to headline the Kia Forum one day. We never will, but it's not about intentionally trying to not do well or grow. It's just, it's got to grow authentically, and you know, it's got to be real.
Yeah. What I liked about the song you guys dropped is I looked at the song credits and I saw your whole band listed. So it's cool.
Yeah,
and it's definitely I mean, people that maybe don't really know, that's actually surprisingly, oddly, a rare thing, where every member is listed for the song credits. So I was curious, like, is this something that you guys have always been doing? Like, is everyone involved with writing the tunes, especially this new record?
It's the most collaborative I think we've ever been. We normally like me and Aaron would sketch out the music, and then obviously Chris has his whole world that either starts a song or adds to a song or a little bit of both, and then Spencer and Aaron write lyrics and come back and like, here's what we got. And this was the first time that all the lyrics, all the melodies, all the topics, all the deliveries were happening in the same room, similar to this.
Oh, okay.
So we would have like a mic and everyone would kick around like, what if you said this? And what if you said it like this? And, you know, very collaborative. And it is weird. I think we are one of the last bands left. Like every other band is like a guy and people, you know? And there's always like the guy who writes it all and keeps all the publishing, and then the bass players on touring. Like, I don't know if there's any real bands left. I think we might be one of the last ones.
Yeah, man.
And I'm not saying it's better or worse, or it's just different. It's different. Like, I don't know.
As far as like organizational structure in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
But isn't that weird? Like, are we like one of the last
I don't
bands?
think so. No. It's just I think it's just in our, you know, circle of friends and bands that we know. I think that's
And then I guess another question is it better or worse?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think there is a better or worse.
Yeah, it's just different.
I can think of bands off the top of my head where it's like, you know, you have one or two guys that write and record everything, and then the other guys are, they're not even technically in the band, but it works out great for everybody because the dudes that are not writing and recording, they're like, I don't want to do all that work. I just want to go on tour and play shows.
I just love playing.
And I love being in the band and playing shows and doing that part of it. And I'm not a great studio guitar player. I'm not a great studio drummer. So I'm going to leave that to those guys. And then I just get to do the thing I want. And the dudes that are carrying the weight of writing and recording, like, they are passionate about it, and they're just like, they wouldn't want anybody else in there. So I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to do anything creative. It's just a matter of what happens to work for you. And for us, I think this is what works. And but stuff's always changing. And I think that in general, one thing that we have found is that we don't really know the best way for us to do a lot of things. Like, we're always just experimenting, trying to figure out, like, well, is it better to do this way? Is it better to do it that way? Whether it's business or creative or whatever. So who the heck knows?
Who knows?
But there's no consolation credits, if that's what your question was. Like Grant, myself, Aaron, Danon, Chris, Spencer, us 6 wrote everything together.
That's cool, man.
So it's cool.
So was that all throughout the whole record?
Yeah, I think we did like 3 sessions. We went up to Blue Ridge Mountains and rented a cabin and did a session with JJ, our old front of house guy, and the guy who helped us make Voyeurist. And we wrote like 6 or 7 songs with him, and then we went back up for a second time with our friend Danon, who ended up producing the record with us. And we wrote more songs, and we were like, dude, we love the vibe with Danon and where he's kind of pushing us, and he has a special skill set that we don't have technically. And he just allowed us to do what we wanted to do quicker, and then would have ideas that we wouldn't even think of. And we just sat in that house and lived there for 30 days. That's the same house that we started in, and we went there 3 times. And we were just like, we love that house. We know where everything goes. We just emptied out all the furniture. Made a big live room, and bunk beds. And
where's that at again?
Blue Ridge, Georgia.
Georgia.
It's like an hour and a half, like, northeast of Atlanta.
Okay.
But we're just sitting on a beautiful, like, A-frame, beautiful, like, that's the view. So it's just
that's
great.
Nice.
It's
really wanted to put
amazing.
ourselves not in a place where there's like cities.
That should have been the record cover. You guys fucked up, dude.
No, we really just wanted to go somewhere isolating.
Sometimes needed.
We like need it. I think. Because our last record we made in we're all married. We have kids, so it's like, if we're not isolated, we're not getting nearly as much done. Because we did the last record, Voyeurist, in Tampa, and I'm like super proud of how that record came out. But it was definitely more of a process, because it would be, his house with his wife cooking dinner and kids is like 10 minutes away. My house is right over there, so it's like the idea of being like locked in, like creatively, personally, all of that. It's not. You can't really get there. Like, again, I love the record. I think it came out perfect, but I think it's just a lot more efficient, and I think a lot more inspiring to, even if you're only a couple hours away, like far enough to where I can't drive home if I want to do something real quick. So and that cabin in particular is awesome. There's like a movie theater in the basement, so like we'll like work all day, and then Aaron will make drinks, and we'll just go watch a movie and like sit in the hot tub and just bro. So it was very cool.
Drinking whiskey or something.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah. No. It was great. I mean, it's also like a big, kind of a big sacrifice for our families too, like our wives. Like when it's a weird thing where it's like, oh, I tour for a living, I have to go to LA to play this venue, and then when it's like, but you have a studio right here, and you're gonna go away to just break down your studio and just build it 10 hours away from us. Why?
What's that conversation like?
It's a conversation.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
I think like
Yeah.
our families are generally the ones that never actually get thought about or even spoken about. And it's
course.
like with Elizabeth, she gets it, as does Dawn, Chris's wife. You're welcome, Chris. But it's never fun. It's like it's the easy like maybe how do I say it? It's like going to Australia, and I know that 15-hour flight sucks, and even though I know, it doesn't make that flight any less sucky. Your butt still hurts. You've got to get up. Your legs are swollen. Like even if you know and prepare, so it's less about like don't spring it on me. It's just like distance is distance. That's another month of this year that you're not driving the kids to practice, or you're missing this, or I'm up at night with the sick kids by myself, and it's really taxing. But I think for us, knowing that, the way I always talk to it is like my wife and kids are the most important thing in my life, but they're not the only thing in my life. And like Underoath is a distant second, but music and this side of my life is in the top 2 or 3 most important things that I've ever done. And so Elizabeth gets that and supports that, but not without sacrifice.
Yeah, my wife is in a similar spot, but her whole thing is like, I get that you're saying that you guys have to do this, and I believe it when you say it. I just do not understand. She's like, I just don't. She is actively just like, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I believe that it's true. So I think that is a testament to her just being able to say like, hey, like I don't get it, but okay, go do what you need to do. So
Is it because you guys have built? I call it emotional currency. Whereas there's like a trust there, and like you, and when you're home, like you're home. So when the conversation comes up, I assume like there's like some emotional currency there that you could kind of take out.
I think it's a little bit of that. Oddly enough, you're talking to the 2 people that when they go home, they're not home. Chris has a second job, and so do I. So that's the emotional debit card bounces every once in a while. But that's kind of going back to like the last 2 years being draining. Like that's kind of my focus for this year. Is like I don't know what I'm doing next, but I know a lot of what I'm not doing ever again, going back to full circle. And it's like kind of putting my life back together in a balanced way, with family being more of a focus, because the last 2 years have just been come home from tour, go straight to the bar, straight to a beer event. I owned a bar and a brewery and a coffee shop, and it was just a lot. And it's all gone now, which is a bummer, but it's also again, you got to give whatever this is props when you get lucky, and if something doesn't go your way, you have to believe there's a reason. And I'm looking at that as like, oh, this year I can actually be present with my wife, for my kids, which not to say that we aren't, but we're very, very busy. I think it's more less like, oh, I have chips saved up, and more like actual love. Like I think Elizabeth knows that she has the right to be like, I don't like you touring anymore. Go to Home Depot and get a job. I don't care. I just don't want you on the road. And I would. And I think she loves me enough and knows what this means to me to not do that. And it's less of like, well, I saved up these chips over here, so I'm going to cash them in later here. Yeah. We don't really play those games. It's just like wherever you need to be in life, like my job as your partner is to put you where you want to be and sacrifice myself for you, and vice versa. And, she wanted to go back to college. And I was like, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to get a job? Like, you want to start a career? She's like, no, I just want to go back to college for no reason than just me. And I was like, enough said. Go do it. I can't. We can't send you to Yale. We have 3 kids, and we don't. We don't have it like that. But like, if there's a feasible thing, if it's just for you, that's all I need to hear.
Yeah, that's an interesting. It's an interesting dynamic. When the thing that we love doing also is our career, because then that's an odd dynamic with your significant other, because like they see us, and we've been doing this for 20 years, I've only ever been doing this a lot. Obviously my wife and I have a lot of experience with it, but she'll be like, oh, you're hanging out with your friends and going to a party and going and talking to your friend on a podcast, like, look, it's super hard, you know. But she,
oh my goodness.
yeah, but she recognizes, like, hey, like, but you are having to be away from the kids, and you are, you know, killing your body, and you are, you know, there's all these things, and there's that knowledge there. But, you know, similar to Tim's wife, like, you know, my wife came to me, and she had a thing that she was also wanting to do just for herself, and she just wanted to get a certification to be a yoga instructor, and she was like, this is a thing that I need for me outside of you, outside of the kids, outside of this house. I have this thing that I need for me. And I was like, oh, you want to be a yoga instructor? She's like, no, I don't want to teach. I just want to achieve a certification. And I want this thing, you know, cause she's like, you know, I have this, I'm able to, you know, do all these passions of mine. So all I had to hear her say was, I just need this for me. And I was like, great. Like, it almost made me feel not so bad for just like loving what I do all the time. It's interesting.
That's cool. It sounds like you always put the family first.
Try to.
Try. Yeah. It's
this
weird.
job is not a family first job.
Yeah. It's weird.
You know? It is weird. Like, I think in a public forum, I'd love to say that and believe it, but it really is a balance.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like you have two families, you know, and there's a couple thousand people a night over here, and then 4 people back home being like, where's dad or my husband? And it's like, both of them matter irreparably at times. And it's just it's a tough
balance.
one.
Ongoing balance.
And you'll never find it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, I'm glad you're gone. Like, I'm getting all this stuff done 5 weeks in, and it's fine. And then other days, other tours, it's like a weekend, something in the house breaks, and she's like, I'm ready for this tour to be over. And it's like, well, I got 6 weeks left, you know? And it's like, I can't get off the road right now. I can't.
Yeah.
You know?
I think
short of like a life scare, like, you got to figure it out. Wake me up in the middle of the night. I'll help. But like, what can I do from anywhere but there? And I will do it. And it's difficult sometimes. And I think, I check in with my kids sometimes too. Just like, do you like that I'm missing your first game of football? Like, I could just not do this. And they love it. Like, they're older now and they love music, and they're like, no, we love it. And like, you know, FaceTime them every day. And it's
How
like
old are they?
11, 13, and 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. My son, before I left for this tour, he's 8 now. And, cause we have like, we play like different like board games, me and him, when I'm home, and he had made a comment about how, you know, he wasn't looking forward to us not being able to play board games while I'm on tour. And I came up with the idea of getting, because I have one of those Meta Quest headsets at home, and he loves, like, you know, messing around in VR. And I told him, I was like, oh, well, I could get one of those, and then we can, there's like VR board games where it's like you're sitting across from somebody. You can see their face. You can play checkers. You can do all this stuff. And I was like, what if I got one of those and we played it together while I'm on tour? So now it's literally every day.
Is this it?
Yeah. So that's basically what me and my son do. I'll be in the back of the bus, and he'll be at home, and we're like playing different board games, and we're talking to each other, and like it's one of those dumb small concessions that you make. But I was like, hey, what if we could do this? And he was like, oh, you would buy one of those? You know, it's not cheap, but for me, just being able to have like a half hour, an hour a day where I get to just play games, it was like a game changer. So it's like, you know, and then there's other things that, you know, we'll do with, you know, I'll do with my other kids, and, you know, things that, you know, you just try to make concessions where you can, and like, you know, make things work where you can. And it's a constant.
What's the game called again?
I don't know what this one is.
Wait, do you actually have the set?
Yeah, like he sits in the back lounge in VR and like plays with his son at home.
Yeah, we play like Jenga. There's like
dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what this isn't the exact one that I have, but it's a similar thing. So
VR Jenga? What the hell is this?
Yeah, it's crazy. And there's never been a better time to be on tour and be away from your family. Like,
true, man.
Dude.
Our phones work. Like, we talk about this a lot, but like, our phones work all across the world on FaceTime. And when we were first touring, literally when we were coming to Dana Point, there was no cell phones, and you would have to buy 1,500-minute Sam's cards or Walmart cards to use payphones to even call the promoter. Be like, yo, we're here. There was no MapQuest. We had to use an atlas.
Yeah.
I found all that the other day. I found like a box with our first ticket, one of the first itinerary / day sheets that I printed out, and it was like North Carolina, Underoath $80, Beloved $60, opening band $20, and then I'd write in what we got and like just I'm like, this is literally how we would live.
Yeah, and I think about it like when, because my dad was in the Air Force when I was growing up, so he would be away for a time, and it's like I maybe got to talk to him once a week, maybe.
Yeah.
And like the fact that my daughter can just FaceTime me whenever she wants and like just show me a thing that she's working on, like it makes all the difference.
Yeah, that's him.
Oh yeah, that's literally like 2 days ago.
Yeah, if you wore those, someone's definitely going to
looking like a straight up nerd, dude.
Something's never changed.
It's that World of Warcraft South Park episode.
Bathroom.
It's like that. It's like that's the guy that used to play tetherball in elementary school.
You think I did not rip tetherball in elementary school?
Oh,
of
dude.
course I did, dude.
Didn't you have your own pole in the yard, right?
Oh wow, you did read? Yes, I had my own tetherball
that's
pole.
sick, dude.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because for some reason I don't know if it was like this at every school, but in my school tetherball was like the sport. Like there were like 15 tetherball poles for my school. And it was just, it was
just the cheapest thing to keep kids occupied.
Yeah,
Dude, I haven't heard that word until you mentioned it. I was like, tetherball. I forgot I played tetherball in elementary school.
Dude, we got to bring a tetherball
dude.
pole on tour.
Dude, that'd be...
When you freaking get that smoke and
you keep it going? You got that angle?
There was always that one kid that kept... That one asshole that...
and it was not me. He hit it above my head and just be like, ta-ta, bitch.
I was like, fuck, dude.
But yeah, I mean, dude, to Chris's point, like, I think that even though we travel, our kids are more connected to us than we were to our parents living at home.
Absolutely.
Which is cool, and that's not, and then you go on the internet and there's all these like, I recentered my life and I'm a super dad. And it's like, you're getting like this, am I doing it right? And I think we'll know what we're screwing up later. But again, full circle, I know what I don't want to be as a dad. Yeah. Which is an enabler and someone who's not there and someone who has to like send gifts home to like try to pay for time, It's like I'd rather me not feel like I need to get you anything because the only reason why I feel like I have to get you stuff is because I feel like I'm letting you down some way, And it's like kind of that emotional currency of like, I'll sit up and talk to my daughter for 30 minutes about her new band that she's starting and how to navigate stuff. And it's like, would we even do that if I was at home? If we were all just sitting together? No, but I actually get like one-on-one time, which I don't do at home. I'm not like, everyone go to bed and I'm going to come into your rooms individually and check in, So it's a different kind of communication. They would prefer that I'm there. I would prefer to be there. But I think what a time to just be gone. You're never really gone. I mean, my wife could FaceTime you right now and just be here. And I'd be like, move that there and turn this off and then change that. Like, it's all right here.
It's all,
and it's really cool. I couldn't imagine being in the 80s and just being like, no way. I'll never see you.
Honestly, I couldn't.
I think I don't think I would be here, or I would be single.
Yeah, I just watched The Dirt finally the other day, and I was like, man, what a wild time.
Oh,
man, crazy.
It seems like every decade people party less and less.
Yeah.
If you ever meet someone from like the 90s, I'm always like, I would probably die if I was.
Yeah, I was talking about that the other day because what was it we were doing? We were in Australia and we had a show get done and we were in the van heading back to the hotel. And the area that we were in was a big party area. Like the streets were filled with people, clubs everywhere. Yeah. And I was making a comment about how even, when I was younger, the idea of like going out and partying and like just going hard in the paint, like it never seemed appealing to me. And I don't know if that's like a generational thing, but I've just never really been that guy. And I was watching The Dirt, and there's that section where Tommy's talking about, okay, well, here's a day on tour for me, and as it's going through, I'm just like, he's like, okay, and then you check into the hotel, trash the hotel, and it's just him checking in, putting his bags down, and then breaking the TV, and I'm like, why? Like,
Why?
But,
yeah. I mean, even at our hardest, we just don't really do much. Like, we see certain people or hear stories or, watch stuff, and we're just like, bro,
I want to go to bed.
That is crazy. Yeah. I am tired for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about how we can't wait to go to sleep tonight and like sleep in because it's Saturday. I'm like, I even hit our manager. I'm like, I'm going to see a show tonight. Like, I'm not doing any press. I know it's release day. Like, we've been going and going. Like, I'm going to have a me day. I'm going to get off stage, shower, and then go see a hip hop show and like call it a day and then come home and go to bed.
Wow. That's sick, dude.
Yeah. It's just boundaries. Like, again, everything needs to be balanced. I feel like this last few weeks personally haven't been balanced. Like, it's just late nights, early days.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like, we have new lights. We have this. I got to load in. But then we got this, and let's meet this guy for drinks, and let's go do this. And it's like, at a certain point, I'm just like, I know it's LA. I know all the homies are going to be here. I'm just not hanging out tonight.
Wow.
Just don't.
That's a great idea.
A great idea?
No, great. I'm gonna start doing that.
Yeah.
If everyone's there, I'm going home.
But but it is an obligation, and similarly to like liking it. Like, I love going out with my friends. I love meeting. I haven't seen Chris in a while, or Andy or Sanaz. Like, they're only here today. Like, let's make this night one last night, and it's like it's special for them. But if it's unique for them, but you're on tour for a month, you're doing the same thing every night. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, people see you like, dude, I haven't seen you in 2 months. Like, let's go out. It's like, but I just had that same conversation yesterday, and I just went out, and now we're going out again, and I get it. And then there's just a certain point where it's like, you don't have to though. Just
you don't have to.
You can have a boundary and just be like, yeah, I'm good. Let's go watch White Lotus, and best bar in town's on the bus. It's free. If you want to stay up till 2 a.m. drinking, just come over here. But. Yeah, the bars and chaos is wild. And we're doing a lot of parties for this album, and it's so fun because everyone's so cool. Sick. And it's great, but it's like, bro, if you did that every night, like these guys, holy shit.
Yeah, me and Spencer were talking about that yesterday, about how, like, over the past week and a half, like, we've had, late nights out and just, parties and like all kinds of stuff, way more than we normally do. And it's been so sick. Like, it's been so fun, but it's just one of those things of like, man, but there's people who do this all the time.
This too shall pass.
Yeah. And like, we were just like, like next week, this is going to slow down. Next couple weeks, it's going to slow down. And like, that would be cool. And like, it's one of those things where we're in it and like thankful and looking at it objectively and just be like, man, this is crazy. Like, we're just showing up to these places, and there's just all these people that love our music, and we get free drinks, and we get to hang out and talk and just have a great night. But also recognizing, like, we got to get up in the morning, and we got a job to do at the show.
Morning.
Yeah.
And I know you guys had a couple crazy 2 weeks, so I appreciate you guys even making time day of.
Oh, dude, our pleasure.
No, this was a no-brainer when it got brought up. Yeah. It was like immediate. I was like, oh yeah, let's do it.
There was no question. It's just like, I'll do it. Chris is like, me too. Simple.
Wow. Thank you, Shanaz. Appreciate that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And I barely got here. I'm not missing this one, dude.
I'm glad you made it.
Come on, dude. Usually I'm here like an hour or two prior. Just like chilling. I'm like, just gonna wait for these freaking.
Me and you are very similar in that way.
Prompt.
Yeah.
Like,
prompt.
Like, if I have to be anywhere doing anything, I want to be there. Like, these guys give me hell all the time about it. Like, the joke is, right before we leave for a tour, the group chat is like, hey, Chris, how was the tour, since you were already there and you've already done it?
Yeah.
Because my thing is, like, I would rather be 15, 20, 30 minutes early and be, ready and, like, waiting for other people than for people to be waiting for.
Speaking of, how was the forum show?
We killed it tonight. Like, let's go, boy. I was not exactly sure how the crowd was going to be, but LA brought it. It was huge.
Dope.
Man, we did so good. We crushed it, dude.
Proud of you, man. It's awesome. Yeah, I feel when you show up early, it definitely lowers stress and anxiety.
Absolutely.
Tenfold.
Yes.
You sit there and just wait. I feel good. Just wait till people roll in. Super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Like,
So sorry that didn't work out for you today.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah, we-
It started to calm down very nice.
Yeah, no, it's good.
nice.
If there was anyone to be late on, it's us. We're chill.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Does that happen to you before? Like like sitting down to start this, where's the stress level number, and then where are you at now?
You're right. Stress from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
When I sat down, 3.
Oh damn.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I knew, like, I mean, I trust, these guys. I've known you guys for a while.
Yeah.
It's more so like, even the little anxiety I had was I was respecting your time. Mm-hmm. It's like,
That's where I'm at.
It's like they got to go. I just don't like being late.
Yeah.
But I knew like everything was just gonna work out. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's just gonna. It could have been worse. I could have not have been here.
Yeah.
And what made it possible was I called. So yeah, I was gonna drive my mom's car here real quick.
Yeah, go into it.
Okay, so I got an oil change at Valvoline, and I'm fucking pissed. Dude.
Oh,
go.
dude, let's
go.
get them, dude.
You want to be you're gonna be responsible. Though, okay, you need to get your oil changed. So I took it
Hey,
to Valvoline.
should we? Do you know the specific location? Can we like really?
Should we call
go-
him?
It is it is in Corona, and you probably can't call him.
Damn.
And yeah, got the oil changed, and then literally, this was last week, and I was driving on the freeway to here, and my car started to overheat like halfway. So I pulled over off the freeway, got a tow truck back here to the this is the whole story, but I took a tow truck back to Corona to park it at the repair shop, which also on the way to the repair shop, I saw someone pull a machete at somebody, so that was kind of cool.
Hell yeah.
So that was kind of cool. So anyway, it was so I guess they didn't tie a certain something. So basically, like the fluid, like the cooling fluid, this kind of
coolant,
coolant. And I was like, so my so they didn't tighten it, so my car overheated. And
Ooh,
so
radiator problems.
yeah. So we'll see, but I guess it's a cheap fix.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm borrowing my mom's car, and because I love my parents, and then on the way here, battery dies.
Ooh.
It's a double. It's a double whammy, dude. I'm not missing this.
Yeah, who's this joker? Adam, the manager at Valvoline. Valvoline?
Valvoline.
Valvoline?
Yeah.
I called. I called AAA to check the battery, and luckily he showed up 30 minutes early.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
So I was
great.
like, "Oh, this is possible." Then checked it. Got an Uber. Came here.
Dude,
Sick.
Uber is that's another thing.
Another thing, dude.
Like
Uber?
touring
Come
15
on,
It's
dude.
the
minutes.
best time to be alive.
Uber,
Dude.
dude. Uber's so sick.
Just
dude.
you press a button and a car just picks you up to take you wherever you want as if magic.
Yo, dude.
Love it.
Like if I had to get a taxi, this wouldn't have happened.
Yes.
Taxis.
Dude. We're in the
How do they
lines.
work?
But I'm super fucking stoked to be here. But I feel like we haven't talked about your records at all. So
Oh, no, that's
maybe,
fine.
Yeah.
So maybe we could. Hey, Jay, pull up their
Pull it up.
records, dude. Oh, is this whiskey?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Nice, man.
We get on that. Oh, I haven't seen the
Dude, plug
that other thing.
plug the whiskey real quick.
Oh.
We have 3-chord bourbon
Okay.
on our website.
And
Nice,
It's wild.
It's really good. We
It actually is good.
yeah, it is. Aaron actually worked with 3-chord on the blend on that. He did a lot of work on that, and it man, I gotta be fully honest. When we got sample bottles, and I knew that he had worked on it, but I was kind of expecting it to be like pretty good. I'm like
Yeah.
I don't know how. What the quality is of what it is that they're doing, and I got a sample bottle and I tasted it. I really like whiskey, and I tasted it. I was like, dang, like it's
It's real good.
it's great. But
Yeah.
anyway, so it's good stuff. And we're due to laws,
out.
we're not allowed to sell it at shows, unfortunately. But
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That would have popped. Sell it outside or something. Well, that's even more illegal, right?
well, as long as you keep it in your jacket,
Yeah.
yeah. Just get a trench coat. Yeah,
Yeah, it looks awesome, man.
But yeah.
The artwork is cool.
we should have
Thank
brought
you.
some. We should have brought some. Had a little sip.
See?
Dang.
Came
Hindsight.
unprepared.
Hindsight.
Even had time to bring it over.
We had all kinds of extra time.
Hey, Jay, go to the list of the records, please. Yeah, go back. So they're only chasing safety. So that was when Spencer joined,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
What because obviously the record before that was your first record, Tim.
Yeah.
So obviously there was like
Changing of times.
a change. So obviously it was literally pun intended.
Literally.
It was a changing of times. But I was curious, like, was there any like discussion? Was there like a mindset change going into writing those songs?
Yeah. Well, we had a few songs that were getting more like melodic naturally.
Yeah.
And then when Dallas was no longer in the band, when Spencer wasn't in the band either, we were just writing, and we even went as far as to entertain like, what if we didn't have a singer? And we created, like Aaron sang from the drum kit. There was a band called Cool Hand Luke from back in the day, and Mark, the drummer and the lead singer, was kind of like that inspiration. Like, what if we just Cool Hand Luked it? Like, we were just open for anything.
Oh, wow.
And by the time Spencer joined the band, I think like half the record had already been written, or something close to that. I know Reinventing Your Exit was done.
I think there was only like
Maybe two or
or
three.
three songs.
Yeah, maybe that's right.
And there were other songs that
we scrapped.
That
actually.
we scrapped. Yeah.
We had 5 or 6 songs. We only kept two maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't like a shift. Nothing we've ever done is like, oh, we're death metal, let's go pop. Oh, we're big in pop, let's go metal again. Like, it's never like that.
Yeah. What I've noticed over the years is I think we have a subconscious slant toward doing stuff against either what we're doing in the moment or what we happen to be surrounded by in the moment. Like, it's not anything that we intend to do, but like when I think back on when we were touring off of the Changing of Times, we were touring with nothing but like metal bands, hardcore bands.
Yeah.
Like, it was all just balls to the wall heavy all the time. And so when we started working on the songs that would end up being They're Only Chasing Safety, I think there was this subconscious, we don't want to do that. Like, let's just do something different, And then that ended up being They're Only Chasing Safety, which was a lot more melodic. And then when we were touring off of They're Only Chasing Safety, we were playing with a lot of, like Warped Tour bands, not bands that weren't quite as heavy, and we were kind of being pigeonholed's not the right word, but we were very much in like a melodic world, like, oh, make your choruses bigger, make the melodic stuff more, and we kind of unconsciously just kind of pushed against that, and I think that's why the next record, Define the Great Line, ended up being a lot heavier and a lot darker. Like, it wasn't an intentional, hey, like, let's like write something heavier. It's just that's kind of what came out, So, yeah.
Yeah.
You just follow the vibe, it seems like.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. For me, yes. But then in talking, when we stopped touring and Aaron was in Paramore and then we got back together, like revisiting these times with him, I think he has a different recollection of it. Like, he felt like he was stifled a bit, which is why he started the Almost. Like, he wanted to sing more, and it was this thing where I, thinking back now, understand, but in the moment I'm like, yeah, we are doing this, we are on the same page, and in reality it was more like me telling him no, and him being like, oh, you sure? I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, this is the vibe. And then he was just like, okay. You know what I mean? So for me, I just remember all of this feeling so natural and inspired. But I think Spencer and Aaron both felt like rarely is there like 3 or 4 heavy hands in the creative process in a band, going back to how things are structured. So I think for a while it was like I was like a final boss creatively for them somehow. And I didn't know it because we didn't communicate well. So it wasn't like they were
really?
Yeah, we weren't having these big interventions like, dude, you got to relax. And I'm like, no problem. And then didn't. We just didn't know how to communicate that. So I didn't even know that they felt like that until 10 years later.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was just like, oh no, my opinion is like, why would you sing over that part? I think that sounds lame. like just normal. Like how an adult would talk to another adult. Like we don't have to sugarcoat it. We're not kids. Like I think that makes it sound weak. And even though that 3-part harmony sounds good, I don't think it fits the song. Yeah. And I'm like, what if we tried screaming instead? And then it's like we vote, and 3 out of 5 guys are like screaming wins, and like that happened over and over again.
Sometimes the majority rules is just, for some reason doesn't feel right.
Yes. Right. We've come to that realization as well. Like, there's very few things on our records now that are a majority rules thing. Like there are things here and there where it's like,
I'd say not really though.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Like, I'm agreeing with you. Like, there's very few, if any.
Yeah, there are a handful of like parts or riffs or whatever where it's like, one of us will say like, I don't really get it, but you guys are all digging it, so okay, let's do it. But there's a lot less of the again, like, well, the 3 of us like it and the 2 of you don't, so we're moving on. It's from now it's more so like, okay, well,
how do we get everyone on the same page?
The 2 of you aren't liking this. What don't you like about it? Let's work on it until it gets to a point where, we're all like, okay, yeah, that's the thing.
And rarely is there like a vote, is more what I was saying to him. Yeah. Like, there's things on the record that I'm like, I'm on your ticket. Like, I'm your +1 to the show. I don't know exactly where this is going, but I can see that 4 people are excited about it. I'm happy to be the 5th that doesn't get it. But rarely am I like, lame, you better vote me out because this is off. Like that, I think that was our posture back then. Yeah. Now it's more just like, well, what don't you like about that? And everyone's got their creative things, you know? Like, Spee's got his things and I have my things and Chris has his things, and when they all work together you get something really cool. But when they're at odds with each other, it's like pretty obvious, and I think we just don't chase those things anymore unless I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be so mad if this idea doesn't get off the ground because I really think it's the right idea, which I don't think we've had in a while.
And I think also what's comfortable to me now, being where we are in our career, is being able to trust the other dudes, whatever that thing is where they're like, hey, that, like, even if it's not speaking to me in that moment, if one of the other dudes is like jumping up and be like, oh, whoa, I'm like, all right, like let's go there. Like there's a song on the new record called Vultures that turned out really cool. And for a lot of the writing it in the studio, I personally was like, I don't really know what we're going for with this song, but Spencer in particular was like, dude, like, let's keep chasing it, keep going in this direction. Like, he was like jumping, he was like super stoked on it. And I remember I was like, okay, if this is exciting you this much, then I'm along for the ride. And I'm stoked with how it turned out. But in particular, there are quite a few people since the record has been out, or we've had friends that have heard it. A lot of people are like, hey, that Vulture song, like, that's like, damn. And I look back to that point in the studio where I'm like, the thing that Spencer was feeling about it, like,
more people are feeling that.
Like our lighting guy, my wife, like whoever, like, hey, what's up with that song? That song rips. And I'm like, yeah, like that song would not be that.
It was my idea.
Yeah.
It was mine and Chris's idea to let it be on the record. So you owe us.
So that would.
No.
So that would. Do you think that was kind of like the beginnings of like you guys having to take like a little like hiatus? It's kind of built up.
I think so. I think we still struggle with it. Like, the older I get, I was talking to Grant about this the other day, but like, the older I get, I'm more and more surprised at how people don't adult well. Like, when you're 20, you give people a pass, right? Like, you're 20, you're 18,
100%.
You're sheltered, maybe it's 25, whatever that is.
You're sheltered, yeah.
Whatever, but, or you're in a bubble and you're in a band and you have Arrested Development, which is huge. But, like, it's interesting to see how many people, like, still to this day can't honestly communicate and can't directly say what they mean, and more importantly, take responsibility for their actions. And I think that was like, we were all fighting that, I think, almost at scale at the same time. Like, we know something's wrong, but we don't know how to say it, so we let it go, but then resentment builds. And I'm trying harder now than ever to like go, hey, if this thing happens, if I need to tell someone, who's the right person to talk to about that? And that's not the guy that will get my side and inflame the situation. It's a guy who's like, I mean, I called Chris the other day. Something randomly got said on the bus by one of the guys. And I was like, yo, I just let that go. But it's like 5 hours later and it's actually really bugging me. And I just need a calm person to like go, should I even call that out or not? And it wasn't anything major. It was just something that was like, if that happens at scale, it will become a problem.
Yes.
Why don't we just not do that? And he's like, yeah, I think it's this, but you should definitely not say anything. Like, he's like, definitely say something. And then I did, and it was over. Where before it would be, you know, me, you, and Chris go out and we're like, dude, did you hear what he said? Like, he said that thing to this, and then this guy did this, and it's like, what's that guy's deal? And all of a sudden, like you've created a narrative.
Yeah, you created a narrative. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And it's like, at the end of the day, like, I'm just so perplexed how little adults take responsibility for stuff. And it's just crazy.
Yeah, and for us, you know, that was basically just years and years and years of that built up, and it just got to a point where it wasn't even like for us, you know, it wasn't a hiatus. We just broke up. We thought we were done.
Yeah,
because it got to a point where, you know, we were just not able to do the band the way that we thought we had to do it, and we're just like, all right, well then I guess we're just done. You know, and that even in and of itself, like, I think that's a good example of showing how not well we were able to communicate, you know, because it wasn't until literally years later where we're like, wait a second, like, is there a way to do this band that is as advantageous for like dudes in our, you know, we were in our 30s at the time, like as it was when we were teenagers. And, you know, we didn't even have that discussion beforehand. We were just like, all right, well, we're going to quit. You know, that's it. So
that's it.
Yeah, it was like, I remember there being discussions, but I remember like it was just split. There were a couple guys with wives and kids at home that just couldn't or wouldn't do 10 months a year. And then other guys that had nothing, and the band was their entire identity.
Yeah.
And it's like, so looking back, it's like, if I'm you, I act just like you acted. And if you're me, you would act just like I acted. And now we all have kids and we all have like significant others, and now we all act a certain way because our circumstances are way closer to each other than different. And I just remember the conversations being like, let's play more scarce. Let's take like, you know, the brand new model where it's like they don't do a lot, but when they do, it's bigger and it's an event.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe we do, you know, 40 shows a year, but they're amazing. And then the other side is like, I'm not pouring my heart out and writing a record to have it be like a part-time thing around everyone's schedule. Like, it takes too much out of me to put something down on a record to have, you know, let's just say me, Tim tell me I'm not allowed to tour on it because he wants to go see his kids. Yeah. And it wasn't that blunt, but that was the sentiment because it was true. And we're like, well, if we can't meet y'all at 9 months a year and you can't meet us at 2 months a year, what are we doing here? And it's like, well, we're not doing either of these, so there's only the third option. When you find out what you can't do or don't want to do, the next option is generally the only thing you have left. And so it's like, well, then let's call it. And we did, and literally sold everything. Like, not call it for a little bit and let it bubble. Like, literally had to rebuy guitars. Wow. Had nothing.
You were trying to not only break up the band, you were trying to leave like your instrument.
Well, it's interesting though, because like,
not necessarily leave our instrument. Like, I still had a guitar, but like touring, everything. Like, we had no in-ears, we had no cabs, all of our road like nothing.
Yeah, for me it was interesting because you know, like I was saying before, like I joined the band when I was 16, and Underoath up to that point had been my entire, like, everything I had ever written, everything I had ever played. Like, there was no music outside of Underoath. Like, it was Underoath. So, like, for me, it was okay, well, Underoath is not a thing anymore. So now what am I going to do? Like, I wasn't even thinking, like, oh, I could do something else musically. Like, that was not even a thought in my head. I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to, like, pivot and do something else now. So, and I guess that's an interesting spot to be in the sense of, your entire musical identity being one band, but I at the same time, I guess it's kind of cool the fact that, we've been able to do this in a way to where even the thought would come through my head of like, well, maybe I'm just not going to play music anymore, which obviously didn't end up happening. But yeah, like when we broke up, I didn't play or write for, over a year. Like because up to that point, for me personally, it had been such a grind. Like when it came time to write, it was like I got to write again. And when it came time to tour, I was like, well, I got to tour again. It wasn't oh man, I get to do this because the band had taken up such a space in our lives that there was no choice but to do those things. And I had been doing it for so long, like I didn't really have that perspective that we were talking about of being able to like zoom out and be like, man, I get to do this. I
get to do this.
Yeah. So when we got back together, it was a whole different perspective, and like it's just stayed that way for me. Like now, like I enjoy traveling. I enjoy I enjoy seeing new things as opposed to just sitting around and waiting for the next show, and being able to have that perspective of looking around at all of it and just being like, damn, like this is like really cool, because we didn't do it for quite a while. So
I was at the end where like Randy, our manager, was doing quote unquote such a good job, in my opinion, that it almost had an adverse effect. Like he'd be like, hey guys, here's the next 18 months. Like, here's what I think. Like probably pencil in Europe here, and then like going home and sitting with my wife being like, I know what I'm doing in 20 whatever it is, it'd be like, I know where I'm going to be in 2027 from right now. Like that almost felt like trapped, not like, oh, we're in this thing that's living, breathing, and it's going. It's like, oh, there's a program, and like, here's the whole script for the next 2 years, which is the right thing to do. And it is only that way because of your perspective, to Chris's point. Like, wow, we get to go here, and we're going to Europe, and we're going to Australia. Like, this is amazing. Or are you serious? We have to go to Europe, and then we have to go right back to freaking, and it's the same information. It's just how you spin it in your head. And you can be positive about it and grateful about it, or you could feel like it's suffocating you. And at the time we broke up, it was like, this is suffocating. And it's like, we just have to keep grinding for what,
For what?
Yeah, for what? And for me, it was just like, it's easy to say like, oh, the band's not your life. And like, like you say with your wife, like through rich or poor, sickness and health, like those things you say, because that's just what people say. But then you get to actually put it to the test when you're like, yeah, let's just not be in Underoath anymore. It's like, what are you going to do? I don't know, but I know I don't need to stick around here. This doesn't feel right, and like, I'm Tim Oath in everyone's contacts. All of my friends are because I'm in this band. All of my,
your whole identity.
All of my everything. And it's like, let it burn. And like, we literally, we literally left and like didn't do anything. And then it was like, oh, there it is, like same thing with my wife. Like our vows have been put to the test this year and the last 2 years with all the business stuff. And Chris knows all about it. I'll keep it private and high level, but like things that you would never want to have to go through, we've been through. And it's like, oh, like you mean it. You meant what you said to me that time. And I meant what I said to you that time.
Yeah.
But rarely do you get to like stress test these like big things that people say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be with you through anything. Sure you will. This band doesn't mean anything to me. My identity's not wrapped up in that. It's like, you sure about that? Let's see, and then you really see what is true, But if you just live in like a cushy cloud and everything's nerfed, like you could promise people the world and then you crumble the second like one thing doesn't go your way.
Man. And something's going to go wrong.
It always does. Sometimes
100%.
you blow through 2 cars in one day, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, do you bitch about it or do you just hop in an Uber and like talk shit on Valvoline on your podcast and let them know? Like, but you know what I mean?
Thanks, Tim.
That could ruin someone's whole day.
Oh, 100%.
The same exact circumstances. Like bands break up all the time. People lose jobs or lose money all the time. Yeah. But when it happens to you, if you're so self-absorbed, it's like, God hates me. Everything, the evil of the world is all on me. It's like, bro, this is just the first time you're dealing with real shit. What are you gonna do now?
Yeah, I hear the worst thing you've been through is the worst thing that you've been through.
Correct.
And, and you can't even put it into words to people. They have to experience it.
Yeah.
You know?
Sometimes you got to lick the floor at Disney World so you don't get sick. You know.
Yeah.
But if
did that happen?
we were talking about that earlier. but the more experiences you get and like the more germs you're exposed to, that the heavier your immune system is, the better it is. And it's like people that don't do difficult things get broken up with once and they're like, I'm gonna kill myself. It's like, but it's not bullshit. Like it's the worst thing they've ever experienced because they don't do hard things.
It's true.
So it's like if you do hard things, you kind of get strong. Like you're working out that muscle of like, do I have tough skin? You could say it, but when a guy's flicking you off in the crowd, like, does that actually hurt you, or do you just go, look at this jackass? Like, we'll be done in 5 minutes, bro. Chill. Like, or do you try to start a fight? Like, if a guy's disrespectful, all these things,
or
like
both,
all of it. Yeah. Some days it's just your car breaks and this guy does this and this.
Some days are just like it compounds.
Yeah,
like that fucking.
And then do you derail into a monster, or do you just go, hey, shit day, all good, I'm alive. All good. We'll wake up tomorrow and run it back.
Alive, breathing, got food and water, man.
That's all you need.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's sick, man. Well, so it sounds like it's made you guys. It sounds like you had to kind of step away for it to like appreciate it again.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah, absolutely.
I've been there. Yeah, just sometimes.
That's most things.
Yeah, most things. True.
You know, if you do this every day and you love it, one day you're going to be like, I have 55 interviews booked. I hate this. That might happen, and you might just have to like recalibrate day to day, or just be like, I'm going to gang run 50 episodes and take 2 months off and go do something else and really clear my head to see if I want to continue doing this. All those things are natural feelings.
It's natural feelings.
Yeah. And it's just what you do with those feelings. I can't help when I look at, you know, something and it makes me think something, whether it be a woman or a guy or like, you know, like I want to punch that guy. He's being a jerk. Like whatever it is, that first instance, that's just the human, the monkey brain in me.
Totally.
You know, I want that. I want to steal that. I want to touch that. I want to punch that. Like all of those things are what we deal with every day. It's like your personality and your resilience comes the split second after that natural thing that you can't help happens.
100%, dude.
You know, and that's how you never cheat on your wife. And that's how you never actually go to jail for beating up a guy for no good reason. Like, doesn't mean you don't wanna in that one monkey brain instance. It's like, but now what do we do? Now what do we do with this? You know, we're violent, we're sexual beings, we're greedy, we lie. Like we all do that. Yeah. And so it's like, that's just baked in. You have to distill that and like get that out of the way, you know? But
that's called growing up, I think. Yeah.
Trying.
Yeah.
Trying.
Every day, dude. Every day when we're talking about balance, there is no balance. Like you try, and I think you just do your best. And I heard someone call it a tightrope. It's just constantly. Every day is like it might be like a new challenge or something. You just keep, all right, how am I gonna walk this one?
Yeah.
You know.
And if you're prepared for that and you know it, then you look back in 5 years, like, wow, I would have never been able to handle what just happened to me 5 years ago.
Totally, dude.
You know, and I keep seeing that in my life. Like the stuff that I'm dealing with now, like 10 years ago would have crushed me.
Yeah.
And like,
look back,
what's going to happen in 10 years from now? Being like, if that would have happened when I was on Garza's podcast, I'd be a puddle of just mess, you know? Yeah. And, you know, bumps along the way for sure.
A lot of bumps.
Definitely not batting 1,000 and shooting bullseyes every day, but it's the idea. Like, I don't even know if people consider the idea. Like, that's weird. Chris and I talk a lot about that. Like, it's like, how do you wake up and just not even consider the idea of being human is tough, being alive is weird, and complicated. Let's make the most of it, and let's just be happy with what we have. Like, that just took 3 seconds for me to say.
Yeah.
That idea doesn't even come into people's heads.
Oh, no.
And they just wake up, choose violence, stay angry, stay on edge forever. And it's like, dog, that's going to kill you. You know?
Yeah.
There's I forget what it was the other day. There was somebody in an airport that was acting crazy when we were in Australia.
Oh, no.
And and I always have the thought when I see people like wilding out in public in some fashion, my thought is always, this isn't just right now that this person is acting this way. Like they live, this is their existence. Like they just
that's
continue.
you.
Yeah, I'm like, that's crazy. Like, man, sometimes I'm scrolling the algorithm. I'm like, these are just people that live amongst us, dude. Like,
yeah,
it's wild.
Saw a Chinese guy screaming at his wife.
Oh yeah,
screaming at her, grabbing her bag. I almost had to step in. I'm like, if this guy actually puts his hands on this lady, I don't care if it's cultural. He's just not going to do that. Like he's not going to be where he is right now for a second. And I just literally grabbed the coffee and watched him. I'm like, you're getting close. And he was just screaming. And then they just walked. It's like, oh, this is how you communicate. This is how you communicate in public. I can't imagine what it's like in private. And it's, you know, the benefit of the doubt. It's like, oh, maybe it was a 40-hour flight. Maybe they've been delayed and maybe they had a death in the family. It's like, no, you could see it though. Like she's not yelling back. She's like, here he goes again. Like it was that energy of like, yikes. Yeah. Don't do that.
He's got her in line, dude. What's the...
Yeah, dude, for real.
What's the problem?
But like a true leader, a true leader,
head of the household,
the head of this prestigious household. But and we all have that feeling, man.
You do.
Like I want to yell at the guy at the airport too, you know, but I don't. And it's like sometimes you do, and then you apologize for it.
Yeah.
You know, we just had some changes in our business recently, and like everything's good. It was chill, but like the takeaway that we got was that it wasn't a good fit, but the reason why it wasn't a good fit was 100% on us, and that the fit and the things, like I did nothing. It's just not a good fit. And we're talking about like tactile things that you can like pick up, touch. Yeah. And it's like, how does a human brain trick its body and heart into believing that this is true? Like, I believe you believe this is true, and I know you're lying. That's happened a lot over the last couple of years. Like, we've been blamed for so much. Me personally, like in my personal life, just like something will fall apart and it's like, oh, this is all on you. I'm like, how is it humanly possible that it's all on me? And it's like, oh, you can't, looking yourself in the mirror is so painful, and you can't muster up the fact that, you know, you failed, that you need a witch to burn and you need someone to yell at. Yeah. And I'll be your witch because I love you. Yeah. You know? But it's not, doesn't make it any less untrue.
Just messing up a lot of stuff, Tim. I think that's more.
Yeah, I'm just got my boring company flamethrower lighting torches to everybody. But yeah, it's a weird thing. Yeah, and it's like when you interface with that stuff, it's like, oh, I did that. That hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like it's that easy. And it's a weird one. It's like seeing people, and it's like, and then you're screaming at your wife and like about to hit her in the airport if you don't get that shit out.
A lot of people can't say sorry, man.
That's what I'm saying. It's the most shocking. It's the most strange thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people I know that are really stubborn. If they say sorry, I always kind of that's my North Star. If you can say sorry, you're fucking stubborn as shit.
Yeah.
If that person say sorry, I don't ever trust them ever again.
Yeah, that's something that I've dealt with.
One.
Yeah, I mean that's something I've dealt with in general. Like I know that my baseline is to not see my fault in whatever situation I'm in.
Same.
Like, and I recognize that, and that's something I think, you know, getting older and growing up and being like, hey, like having to take that third step back and be like, no, like, you did, and to her credit, my wife is really good at pointing that out.
Yeah,
and I mean, I actually love it because it like. So many times she'll just be like, hey, like you were wrong in this. just see that you were wrong. And I'm like, and my brain's doing like but, and I'm just like, yes, I was wrong. That's it. And
for the 1,000th time.
Yeah, and I don't want to be that guy. Like I hate the idea of being like, oh, I'm like the guy that can't admit when he's wrong, but like that's my baseline, and I have to like fight against that all the time.
But that's everyone's baseline, right?
I think so.
That goes back to like everyone's selfish and everyone's violent and everyone's greedy naturally, and nobody ever wants to be wrong because it's vulnerable and it's painful.
True.
You know,
it's true, man.
Everyone that
I'm not usually wrong. I'm
rarely
so
wrong. But when I am, I will say sorry, so I can talk about it on this podcast. No, like, but it's
the hiatus makes sense now.
Yeah, correct. That's why we broke up. Chris could never apologize for all the awful things he does to us.
Dude, I feel bad. We could go on the subject for a long time, but I kind of promised to get you guys out of here at 1. It's already past 1.
No, that's fine. We're chilling. Are we about to wrap? Because I do have to pee.
Yeah. Anything that we missed? Anything that should be out there about you guys or Underoath?
I mean, the place after this one's out. It's definitely, I think, one of our more unique records. It's got a lot of like it's like a heavy dance album, or a dancey heavy album. I don't know which one, and I know that's weird, and metal people are going to be pissed, and they always let us know, and I just like them to know that I could give a literal shit.
Yeah, tell the fuck off.
I would just like you to listen to it with an open mind.
Cool.
And if you hate it, I respect that, and if I offended you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I don't know when this is airing, but we're touring right now. How long till this is out?
Probably a couple weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
We might be home. Well, we're doing this tour with Papa Roach and Rise Against. We'll be home in a couple weeks, but then we're doing a second leg of it in September.
Baby.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so we'll we can promote those dates for sure.
Yeah. So that'll be cool. We're just doing the thing.
Thanks for having us too.
Tour.
Anytime. Where
congrats on all this, and keep going for sure.
Thank you. Where can people find you guys?
Underoath777.com.
Heaven.
Underoath Band on everything.
Underoath Band. My name's
McTague.
Tim McTague, MC capital TAGUE on all the socials. I need to get my TikToks going and my gains up. Like and subscribe, please. Chris Underoath.
Smash the like.
Dude.
Smash the subscribe.
Smash, dude.
I'm Chris Underoath on everything.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because I identify solely in this band.
Let's rage hate on something.
Nothing else.
Chris, Tim, thank you for your patience, man.
Thanks for having us, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Honor, man. Pleasure.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers. Later.
Look at that stud. I'm never wrong.